In this video, we are forecasting a major winter storm that will bring heavy snow, sleet, and ice accumulations to many in the U.S. Winter storm warnings are going out now and will be expanded throughout the day. How will this impact you? And what's next? Will we ever get a break? All that and more coming right up. Welcome back, y'all. Ryan Hall here with the weather forecast. Due to the rapidly changing weather conditions over the past couple of days, I've been doing live streams pretty much constantly. And I know you guys like the live streams, and I do too, but I feel like this needed a concise update that's short, sweet, and to the point. So that's what we're going to do today. Speaking of rapidly changing conditions, by the time this video goes up, it'll probably have moved out of most of these areas, but we had widespread thundersnow and thundersleet this morning across Texas and Oklahoma. Check out this video somebody sent us. Remember, if you want to send us reports and videos in the future, please send that over to pics@ryanhallyall.com. And of course, without further ado, let's start talking about the forecast. All right, starting off here with the NAM 3-kilometer model, looking at the whole country, focusing in, of course, on our major winter storm that's forming down here in the south central U.S. This is around 3 p.m. Eastern time today, and as you can see, even Little Rock is getting in on the freezing rain, and all the way down here towards San Antonio, Texas, we are dealing with the frozen precipitation. So let's push this forward. What are things going to look like tonight around 10 p.m.? Well, not much has changed. We still have some freezing rain from Kentucky all the way down into Texas, and at this time it's going to start accumulating pretty rapidly, I believe, in Arkansas. This is when the ice storm, I believe, really is going to start. And look, all the way through 5 a.m., we are still looking at that heavy ice, heavy freezing rain, and sleet from, once again, Texas all the way up now into portions of Indiana and everywhere in between. Here we are around 11 a.m. tomorrow. Once again, sleet and freezing rain still going on from the Dallas area into southeastern Oklahoma, into northwestern Arkansas, and then of course into southern Missouri as well. And now look at this, we've also got some freezing rain over here in Kentucky, okay, into Ohio, portions of Virginia and West Virginia. And now we also have to start worrying about the mid-Atlantic regions in the northeast as we get into 3 p.m. on Thursday, as we still have some freezing rain back here in Arkansas, heavy burst of it coming through Illinois and Indiana, but also it's starting to build up over here in Maryland, Delaware, and northern Virginia, where you guys could also see some accumulating ice that could cause some problems. Certainly with travel, I'm not 100% sure about the impacts on power outages and stuff over here just yet, but I do think that it is a possibility, so make sure you're prepared for that over there, anywhere in the pink. So now here we are all the way on 8 p.m. tomorrow, still seeing that ice over here in Washington, D.C., and of course, if we go further into the future, at 11 p.m. tomorrow, the entire state of Pennsylvania, I believe, will be experiencing some sort of precipitation. Southwestern portions, you've got rain, okay? In the western portions, you got freezing rain. In the vast majority of the state, you have sleet, and then in the northern part of Pennsylvania, you're going to have snow at 11 p.m. tomorrow. That's what I call a mess, okay? And once it is going to be a mess, make sure you're ready for it tomorrow night over there in Pennsylvania, also back into Ohio as well. Heavy snow is going to break out in upstate New York around 1 a.m. on Friday. This is going to accumulate very quickly. That's kind of what the radar could look like as we go forward with the ice storm there. Let's look at those total ice accumulations. And there you go. This is from the NAM model. We do think that there's a possibility for a glaze of ice amongst the vast majority of Texas here. And then over here in Arkansas, we do expect for some places to get over a 1/4 inch of an ice, possibly even more than a 1/2 inch of ice, especially the closer you get to northeastern Arkansas there. Now, the NAM model does expect that we are going to see a little bit of an increase in ice accumulation here in Ohio. I'm not 100% sure if you guys will be getting more than a 1/2 inch of ice. Right now, I'm going to say around a 1/4 inch is going to be a worst case scenario, but that can change, okay? Remember, the NAM model has a little bit of a warm bias, so, this could either go away and be all snow, or this could kind of move south a little bit. Keep that in mind. Same thing for you guys over here in Maryland and Virginia, all the way up into Pennsylvania. This can change a little bit, but as of right now, it does look like there is a significant ice storm possibility for you guys. And I would, if I were you, I would start preparing now for anything that could cause in your life, any interruptions that may happen due to a power outage or trees coming down or anything like that. Go ahead and get your milk and bread, of course, unless you're trying to be healthy, right? If you're trying to get more greens into your diet during this ice storm, you should check out today's sponsor, Athletic Greens, daily nutrition made simple. AG1 by Athletic Greens Greens is a daily supplement that's got me pumped about my health. And with 75 ingredients, including vitamins, minerals, superfoods, and probiotics, there ain't much that's easier. In 2022, you can do more for less, okay? More for your life and more for your health. I've noticed since I started using it, I have a lot more free room in my cabinets now. You see, AG1 has replaced a lot of the other supplements that were taking them over. Also, I'm very busy, right? I need a lot of energy when the weather gets bad to make a million pieces of content. Well, it's a good thing AG1 by Athletic Greens has energy supporting ingredients like B12, biotin, and magnesium. It's so easy. You just add 1 scoop or travel packet into 8 ounces of water every day, and boom, that's it. And it tastes good too. I've been using Athletic Greens since way before they sponsored, so I know and trust the product. Get your greens today over at athleticgreens.com/Ryan Hall. Athletic Greens is going to hook you guys up with a 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Once again, that's athleticgreens.com/Ryan Hall, and of course, there's a link in the description. Now, let's get back into the video. All right, now let's check out that snow, okay? I know a lot of you guys are wondering, what about the snow, Ryan? You know, I know we got the ice, and that's what we're going to get into right now, okay? Today, around 2-3 p.m., around the time this video goes up, we are going to have a heavy burst of sleet and snow moving through Arkansas, Oklahoma, Kansas, into Missouri. This is where some of you guys could still see Thundersleet and Thundersnow. Please send me pictures and videos. But I do want to mention here, once again, just the same thing with the ice. This model that we're looking at here, we look at it because it simulates the radar. It has the pretty colors. It makes sense to a lot of people. But I do want to point out that this does have a warm bias, okay? So the warm air is a little bit more potent here, I believe, than what it will actually be. So I think that the snow will actually extend a little bit further south than what we're seeing here in Illinois, and the sleet will actually be a little bit of a thinner band as we go forward. But still, heavy snow and sleet moving into Indiana and Illinois tonight around 7 p.m. But remember, this is a quick burst of snow, guys. This is not going to be a big snowstorm for y'all at all. That first quick burst of snow goes away, and then we get another big precipitation shield forming up here around 3 p.m. tomorrow with our real snow working into Wisconsin, northern portions of Illinois, and of course working to the north and east. And then once again, that warm bubble is going to advect pretty far north, but I think it's actually going to be a tiny bit further south than what this model is showing. I think maybe even North Jersey and New York City will get a quick shot of snow before switching over to sleet. So I think that the warm bubble will be there. However, its position is a little bit too far north on this particular model, okay? But you can see how heavy that snow and sleet is up there in New York, into New England. Very fast accumulating snow coming down through a lot of the northeastern portion of the U.S. there. And once again, somebody will have sleet and freezing rain on the southern side. I just think it sets up a little bit further south than what this model is showing right now. Everything gets out of here around 7 p.m. and we're going to call it a day. Look at this. Quiet, by the way, after that across the entire U.S. Just a little chilly for some of us. How about them snow totals? Well, let's take a look at it. Of course, we're going to have those higher totals up in the higher elevations of the Rockies. A skiff to a scuff of snow through a lot of Iowa into Minnesota and Wisconsin with that big precipitation shield as it moves over. Once again, you're going to have moderate to heavy snow at times, but there's just going to be so intermittent that it's not going to lead to anything very significant. The real snow happens up here in the Northeast. Check it out. Toronto, you got 3 or 4 inches. A lot of Vermont and New Hampshire is going to be getting over 6 inches of snow, especially in the higher elevations. Upstate New York, same thing. And then the southeastern portion of Maine is also expected to get a lot more than 6 inches in some places. Also, down here in Massachusetts and southern New England, we do expect for there to be a pretty decent amount of snow as well. Remember, this rain-snow line is going to be a little bit further south in reality. At least that's what I think right now. And looky here, the National Weather Service agrees with me. This is the official forecast now. A lot of Massachusetts is expected to see over 8 inches of snow. So we could be talking about 8 to 10 inches from western Massachusetts all the way over to Boston. With a little bit less out there closer to Cape Cod. Same thing in Connecticut. The northern part of the state is going to get more snow. The southern part, not so much. Same thing in Rhode Island. Big time snow totals in Vermont and New Hampshire exceeding 10 inches for a lot of people. And then, of course, upstate New York is also going to be completely buried in at least 6 inches of snow for the vast majority of the state. And some of those 2 to 4 inch ranges do come into Pennsylvania, into eastern PA, into North Jersey, and then also around the New York City area. 2 to 4 inches is not out of the question with this storm. Here's a look at the whole U.S. Once again, National Weather Service paints a little bit more of like a heavier snow situation for the rest of the upper Midwest into the Great Lakes, but still, it's not much. This is 1 to 3 inches at most for most of you. I will have an update for the Northeast tomorrow, whether that happens in my live stream or in another video. Make sure you tune in for that because we'll finalize that forecast for you and figure out whether or not that southern trend is actually going to take place. All right, what's next? Okay, we're going to look at our red blobs and our blue blobs here on the GFS model, and we're going to talk about the future. Okay, because, you know, there is always a next storm. We saw this one coming from a mile away more than a week ago, and let's see what else we can see coming here on the good old GFS. Now, it's not going to be 100% accurate, of course, but we look for those signals, and that's what helps us determine how to prepare for the future here. And look at this, okay? So our current storm that's going by right now is tailing off our trough and kind of flattening this wave out, and really it's going to change our weather pattern dramatically as we head into the weekend and early next week. Okay, we got, you know, pretty much zonal flow. Going to be pretty quiet for a lot of us. Maybe some rain in the southeast. Certainly some colder weather up here in the northeast. But for the most part, we are going to be extremely quiet. Big ridge over here in the west coast. So you're going to go from being colder and wetter to being more dry and warmer. And then remember, guys, the boundary area between these red blobs and blue blobs is where we usually expect to see storms. So we are going to have unsettled weather in the northeast, I believe. And of course, some of that could interact with the Great Lakes region in Ohio Valley as well. Remember, I've been talking about this for a while. Around March 1st, around the turn of the month, okay, as we go from February into March, we are going to see a big lobe try to come down here on the East Coast, and around this time we're also going to see some energy spark up in the Gulf of Mexico. This is not a forecast, but I think that this is the kind of pattern that we would see leading up to a big March snowstorm. Okay, now I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying I'm speculating here. If you're looking forward to winter weather anywhere on the East Coast, really from Chicago all the way down to, let's say, like Birmingham and points north and east, like if you're still thinking that winter's over for you, I don't think that's the case, okay? I think that we have another shot here around the 1st of March for another storm to come up and kind of ride one of these troughs up the East Coast and cause maybe, you know, a significant winter storm. So that's something I'm going to be watching in the long range, but this thing's going to windshield whopper like crazy. It's going to change every day, and we're going to finally nail down the pattern, you know, probably later this week to where we can actually forecast a snowstorm over there. But look at that, big trough on the East Coast around March 2nd. I'm telling you guys, something is going to happen with that. We got a ridge over here on the western side of the U.S. feeding it. So we'll keep a close eye on that. And then what happens after that? Another area of very calm, quiet, cool weather moving in through a lot of the midsection of the country. This is going to be a big change for you guys. We're going to have a taste of spring for a lot of us. It's going to warm up. It's going to be nice and quiet. But how long will that last? Well, not very long. As we get into March 9th, early March, towards the middle of March, the GFS here is suggesting that we might enter an extreme pattern here that could promote the, you know, more severe weather, of course, for everybody on the East Coast, possibly some more problems with wind and ice in the middle, and then, of course, snow on the backside here. As I do believe that if we do see a setup like this, we're going to see some big storms rip up the middle of the country here, and some classic severe weather setups for classic Tornado Alley and also the Deep South. So be ready for that. This is still pretty far out. Things are going to change, but that's the pattern that I'm seeing. A huge shout out to our members over here. We have over 1,700 now. The club is growing like crazy. Keep up with me today on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of it. Okay, even TikTok. I might experiment with some live streaming on TikTok today. So if you're interested in that, I'm not going to be dancing, unfortunately, but you can follow me on TikTok. All right, that's all I got for you. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.